Hey everybody.
Good morning.
We just finished our morning squirrel hunt, which was kind of a crazy morning to go squirrel hunting. Had the Fox Pro out here. We were trying to call coyotes, and that went kaput. 19 degrees this morning. Normally we see a lot of squirrels, and we were going to get through coyote hunting. We were going to shoot some squirrels. Well, nothing is moving. So anyway, we got to talking about things, and we got to thinking back. And y'all all know how 2020 was. Well, 2020 was a bad time for us also. But we had planned a Colorado hunting trip. We were going up there bow hunting for elk. And so we had loaded up and headed to Colorado. Well, we got up there on September the 3rd, and I think the season had opened on the 1st. I'm not positive, but we get up there and we start up the mountain roads where we go back in there to hunt, and it generally takes us about.
This is in Antonita?
This is out of Antonita,
Yeah.
Colorado, and where we hunted is the MASSEY GULCH area, and I guess it's about off the road, probably take you close to an hour to get to where we camp because of how rough the roads usually are. So anyway, and I'm pulling my 6x12 camper behind me, or trailer behind me that has all of our camping gear in it. Well, this should have sparked something in my brain, but it didn't. As we start up these roads, all of a sudden we look up ahead of us, and there's probably 250, 350 head of cattle coming up the roads toward us. And as we're driving up, you know, there's, I don't know how many cowboys, 20, 25 cowboys, dogs. All of these cowboys are carrying bull whips and popping whips and hollering and hooping and hollering and herding cattle. And all the cattle, of course, come around us, and we just continue on up the road, which common sense would have told you something about that, but it didn't spark in my brain for some odd reason. We were just thinking about going hunting. So we got to the end of the cattle, and here come a pickup truck at the end of the herd, and he pulled up there beside us and stopped, and he said he had, 5,000 head of cattle in there, and they were still probably 500 or 600 head still up in there somewhere. He got to go find. Well, I didn't think nothing of it. Well, elk are not like deer. They get disturbed. They kind of leave the country, and I think that's what happened, because all of these cowboys running down through there on horseback and hooping and hollering and rounding up cattle out of the mountains, and dogs hollering, barking, and it never dawned on me that they probably ran every elk in the country out also, but they did. They basically ran everything out. I mean, I had pre-scouted, went up there and pre-scouted, found several spots where we were going to be setting up, and we had climbing tree stands that we were going to set up in these areas. So we got up, and it takes us a while to set up our camp, because normally where we were going to camp, there was someone already camped there. So we had to choose a different camp spot, which was back this way, a couple of miles from where I wanted to camp, but we started pitching camp. Now, we make a big camp. We put up two 12 by 20 tents, basically. One of them we put a floor in, and that's what we sleep in, that tent, and then the other is our cook tent. We have all four sides on it, and with the table, the stoves, and everything in there. Yeah, it's a
We hang our pots and pans up. Our
yeah.
utensils.
Everything is. I should have taken pictures.
We did.
We may have pictures
I
of
think we
how
did.
we set it up in there. Well, anyway, we set up a big camp, and so it's just Teresa and I, and so anyway, we got camp set up, and we decided we'd get on down and
I'll put my stand up first.
we were going to try to put Teresa's stand up first, get her all set up, and she was going to go ahead and hunt that afternoon. So that's what we did, and then I went back into another place, and I was going to hunt back there. So anyway, we did hunt. Nothing. Saw nothing.
Not
I
even a
saw
squirrel.
no.
I didn't even see a squirrel.
Yeah, we didn't even see a squirrel moving. But the fresh sign which was there when I was pre-scouting there was none. There was no sign, nothing. And so anyway, we hunted. I can't remember what day we got there, but
The third.
we got there on the 3rd, and I can't remember what day it was. Was it a Thursday or something like that? I can't remember. But anyway, we were talking to somebody, and they said we're supposed to get some snow in here in a couple of 3 days, and it's supposed to start snowing. Got to thinking about it and thought, well, we might want to see if we could go into town and buy a heater. Now we carry a generator with us.
And
we-
fans, normally.
Yeah, normally we'll carry a fan with us to stay cool because it gets so hot up there. So we decided we would go into town and we would try to buy us a heater, because otherwise all we had was our camp stove, and we're under a fire ban, so you couldn't build a campfire or anything like that. So anyway, we drove back to town the next day and
Sunday.
went into Alamosa, I think is where the town was the closest one that had a Walmart. So we went to Walmart and we bought electric heater. And so anyway, we're getting prepared for this so-called snow that was coming in, and we felt like that would take care of us. Well,
And how deep did they say it was supposed to be? 8 inches, maybe?
they said that we may get 8 inches of snow. So I mean, I thought that'd probably be pretty cool. I've never really hunted in the snow, especially for elk. I've been up there when you'd run, a few flakes be falling here and there, or a hailstorm or something, but no snow. So anyway, when they said it could get up to 8 inches, we thought, well, we need something to stay warm. So anyway, and I think the snow started on Tuesday, I believe. We got to hunt for a couple of days or so,
Yeah, 'cause we
either
went into
Monday or
town on
Tuesday.
Sunday.
We went into town Sunday, and then maybe on Tuesday morning or Monday night,
Monday night, yeah.
it started snowing. And I mean, temperature dropped down to like 22 degrees.
We got pictures of it too.
And it was cold, bitter cold. And of course, the heater we bought was junk. It wouldn't even heat. I mean, it didn't even heat. So anyway, it began to snow, and it snowed. And I mean, I've never been in snow like this before. It was coming down so hard and fast. And what we had to do, we would set our alarms for every 2 hours. We would get up and we would take brooms and push up on the top of our tents and knock the snow
Totally out of breath.
off of the tent, because the snow coming
So
down
heavy
so
and-
bad, and it was so heavy on the tents. And anyway, we did that all through the night. Every 2 hours we'd set our alarm, we'd go knock it off of our sleeping tent, And then we'd go to the cook tent and knock it off. Well, snow was piled 5 foot high on the outside of our tents from us shoving it off of the roofs, off of our tents. And it didn't snow 8 inches. It snowed 2 foot, 24 inches of snow. I had never in my life been in that much snow. I grew up around Wichita Falls, and we'd get a snow every now and then, it'd be 3 or 4 inches, and that was deep as it got.
Never in a tent.
And we weren't never in a tent either. But when you would walk outside, you would walk out of the tent, and the snow was over your knees deep. And literally, you couldn't, your boots, your boots stopped down here, and the snow was up here. So anyway, I had a shovel, and I created trails to the cook tent, to my truck. I wanted to get my truck started to make sure it was going to start. But there was no way to move my truck or my four-wheeler because we as Texans, I don't own a four-wheel drive truck, nor do I own a four-wheel drive four-wheeler. I have two-wheel drive vehicle. I shoveled out a trail to my truck, and I started my truck up. And I had that much snow on top of the hood and the bed was completely full, and it was piled up. Like I say, we had never been in any type of a snow like this. I thought, well, we can't even go anywhere with the four-wheeler because that four-wheeler would just stop. It couldn't go anywhere. My truck couldn't move. I would try to walk out through there, and I said, well, that's impossible to hunt in. There was no way I could hunt in it. So anyway, we're stuck. We're just basically stuck at camp. And I finally called the game department. And we were able to get out on Teresa's phone only. My phone wouldn't get out. So I called them and I said, listen, I mean, it's 22 degrees. We've got 2 foot of snow. I'm building a fire. We've got to stay warm. And he said, well, I will get a hold of the National Forest Service and tell them where you are. We no sooner really got off the phone with the game department that the National Forest Service called me back. And the lady that was over that district said, yeah, by all means, build you a fire. She said, who would have ever thought that we'd be in a fire ban and we would have 2 foot of snow? And they didn't have it down in the town like we had it up there. And a sawzall is all I had. So I went out and cut us firewood, and we built fire so that we could stay warm. And we burned a lot of wood while we were up there. We knew that Teresa was going to have to end up going to work next week. And I began to think, well, I don't know how we're going to get out of here by then, Teresa. I said, it's liable to be 2 weeks before I can get out. So anyway, we rock along there, and all of a sudden I hear something, and it was four-wheelers. And they were coming down the road. Well, anyway, these four-wheelers came down the road, and they turned and came up to our camp. These guys were from Louisiana. They had four-wheel drive four-wheelers, and they were big four-wheelers, a lot bigger than mine, and they were able to get up and down the roads on those four-wheelers. So they were going to continue to hunt. Well, anyway, we became acquainted with them, became friends, in fact. And so I said, well, if y'all go up that road, then I can get my four-wheeler up that road because you'll break a trail for me, and then maybe I can go hunting or whatever. So anyway, like I say, we became friends with them. They ended up coming up for for having supper with us and whatever. We had really enjoyed them. Some of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. We were rocking along there for several days, and finally, it's getting closer to the weekend, and they were going to have to leave on Saturday. And finally, one of them said, "Lannie, we can go right through Mesquite, Texas, on our way home. If you want to send Teresa with us, she can ride with us." And I said, "Well, we may have to do that because she's going to have to go back to work." And I said, "There's no way I can get my truck out of here for another week anyway." So anyway, it rocked along there, and sure enough, they allowed Teresa to ride back with them. They came, picked her up, and she rode back with them, and they took her right through to the house there in Mesquite, and she was able to, luckily she had her keys to get in, or I sent my key home with her to get in. I can't even remember how it was.
I got in.
But anyway, they turned out to be good friends, and they carried Teresa back with them. So anyway, that meant I was stuck up there. I was going to be there for several more days. And I did not know it at the time, but one of my best friends was up there hunting also. And he just happened to run into us before the snow. They were farther down the road by about 5 miles. So they were stuck there too. They too had two-wheel drive truck that they were in.
And one of their tents collapsed.
Yeah, one of their canopies that they had over their camp area, it collapsed from the snow. And come to find out, evidently there was a lot of folks that weren't prepared like we were. They weren't prepared like we were. We weren't prepared for a heavy snow. Well, some of them, their tents collapsed, and some of them left camps and just left them there and got out of there when it started snowing so much, which then they couldn't get back to their camps. And so when they finally did get back to their camps were flat. I mean, their tents were on the ground, everything was ruined. All of their clothes and everything else that they had to leave there was
a mess.
Yes, a mess. And that's saying it kindly. But I stayed for another 4, 5, 6 days. I can't remember how long it was before it finally, I could drive
You came home the day that I had to go back to work.
Is that what it was? Well, anyway, I was finally able to get out, and I broke camp by myself. And
well, the guys helped just take down the one tent before.
Yeah, the friends from Louisiana helped us take the cook tent down. So that left me with
so
just.
glad, because it's a pain.
Yeah, they're pretty hectic to take down, especially by yourself. I found that out. Especially by yourself, they're hard to get down. But anyway, by then I was able to break camp and load the truck trailer and was able to drive out. And needless to say, I think it would be nice to invest in some snowshoes next time we go, just in case something like that ever happens. But anyway, 2020 just wasn't a good year for us, and I actually learned an awful lot from it. By all means, if the ranchers are moving cattle out, don't hunt that area, because not only do the cattle leave that country when the elk left. There was not a fresh elk sign for the next week that I was there. There was not one fresh track anywhere to be seen, and everywhere that I could go. Like I say, I still couldn't go all up into the mountains because the snow was so deep. I mean, it was still way up over my boots and everything, but there had been quite a few four-wheel drive trucks had been going up and down the road, which helped me because it was able to dry the road out enough.
And you could check on your friend.
And I was able to go back to the back and check on my buddies, and they got to leave a couple of days before I did. And But anyway, what an experience it was. I mean,
part of my experience was when the guys did the four-wheelers all the way back to Johnny's camp.
mm-hmm.
I thought I would just hike back there because the roads, and, you know, I'd follow the trails. And the deeper I got, the darker it got. And all I had was my headlamp. I had my guns, I had my bow, like I was going to shoot something, you know. But anyway, and my walking sticks. And it got darker and darker. I thought, you know what, I better turn around. And I turned around and started out back to the camp. And I caught, oh no, the snow would fall out of the trees and make a loud noise. Well, I turned around to see what it was, and all I saw was something dark. And I just knew it was a bear. And it was following me. And so when I realized what it was actually a big black cow, but that silly cow followed me all the way to my camp. It was just like, it kept pushing me that way. But dear Lord, I was scared. And then you would hear the noises of stuff falling out of the snow falling out of the trees, and you'd jerk and look. And it took a long time to get back to camp. I was pretty deep in there, but I hadn't made it to Johnny's camp yet. But
there are bears there. And
yeah,
it seems like if you want to find a bear, get in my back pocket. They seem to I always see some, but I didn't this year or that year.
We had to go down and get my stand out that we'd put up.
Yeah.
And literally, you'll see the pictures of me coming out with that stand on my back and how deep the snow was. And even around our tent where Lannie dug out everything. It was pretty impressive.
It was an experience that, although it was a bad experience, it was still an experience that, you know, it'll last you a lifetime. It's just like me telling our stories. It's something that we can talk about and reminisce about and think about. And if they say it's going to snow, I'm not going to go because I've done figured that out. I don't like that snow country. It's good to visit. I never was a skier. I'd never been snow skiing in my life, and a lot of people go up there to do that. But I might do that one time. But to live up there in that snow country, my hat's off to all of them that do, because I don't think I could live there. But 22 degrees and 2 foot of snow, we had to endure that for a week, and it wasn't
But we did have
fun.
Warm sleeping bags.
We did, and we stayed
slept
warm. We slept well, and we had warm clothes, and it was not miserable by no means. And once we were able to build a campfire, then that was so much better. There's something comforting about a campfire anyway. I don't care where you are. There's something comforting about them. And we enjoyed our time together, you know, just out there. And even though it consisted of a lot of work going out and getting firewood and tromping through that mess to go get it, but it was an experience that we wouldn't trade. I don't think I would.
No, I wouldn't. I enjoyed it.
I
I really hated coming back early.
Yeah, but it was an experience, and we made some friends out of it. These guys were just amazing buddies. They turned in to be just amazing people, and we were so grateful. I was so grateful that they could take and give Teresa a ride back, because it was a load off of my mind. I was worried sick. You know, Teresa,
He wasn't worried about sticking me in a car with strangers, though.
Yeah, well, I think she had her pistol with me.
I did have
a pistol with her, but she wouldn't have had to do anything.
No,
because
they were
just
awesome people.
They were amazing guys. They were friends. But anyway, we were out here and we got to talking about that, and we thought, well, it'd be a good time to talk about it because it was 19 degrees out here this morning. And in fact, we got our guns, and I kept saying, you know, there might be one of them squirrels go popping his head out. We might get a shot at one. But anyway, we wanted to tell you that story. And anything else that you wanted to add to it? I think that was it. But it was a trip to remember. So anyway, until next time, maybe we'll show a squirrel getting hunted next time, or a coyote.
We're going to try.
We're going to try again. Well, listen, we'll catch y'all again a little later, all right?
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.